Hello, and welcome to the final book haul of 2024. This will probably be the last book haul you see on my channel for a little while, because if you haven't seen my reading goals video, one of my goals is to read down the books that I own, and so I'm going to be majorly slowing down the book acquiring in 2025, at least until my bookshelves are a little bit more manageable. But I have 9 books here that I would love to show you. I'm excited for every single one of them, and let's just get into it. The first one is an anthology of short stories, Wastelands, the New Apocalypse. This is edited by John Joseph Adams, and I got this one because I do love apocalyptic novels, but this just had so many authors that I absolutely love. Ken Liu, Veronica Roth, Hugh Howey, Shannon McGuire, Tananarive Due, Catherine M. Valente, Elizabeth Bear, and then some authors that I didn't know before. This is quite the hefty, chunky collection. I don't know exactly how many books or stories there are, but there are 700 pages worth of stories, and there are so many authors on here that I'm so excited to read short stories from, and I love apocalypse fiction, so I'm excited to see what apocalypse short stories are like. Next are some books that I got for Christmas. This is The Full Moon Coffee Shop by Mai Mochizuki. This is a new book. Oh, this is translated by Jessie Kirkwood. This is a new book that my sister and I actually got on Christmas together. She picked this off of my Storygraph to read list, and I had recommended a friend buy a few different books. This book was on it. He ended up choosing this one, and so we both got the same book, which was very fun. And this is just a magic realism story about a coffee shop, the Full Moon Coffee Shop, where if you are kind to just the right cat, you might be invited to this magical coffee shop that is run by talking cats. And that just sounds so whimsical, so cute. It's pretty new. I think it was released, let's see, the translation was done this year, but the book was released in Japan in 2020. So a fairly new book, and I'm just so excited to read this one. I think it's going to be a really cute, cozy read. 2 other books that I received as gifts for Christmas from my friend are 2 books in a fantasy trilogy called The Deathless by Peter Newman. This is book 1. And then book 2, The Ruthless. This is a book about 7 royal families who are constantly born and reborn into like these perfect bodies, and they are fighting to hold back the wild, which is this like endless forest that like attacks people who are like trying to live off the land. And this is about one house, House Sapphire, whose fight against the wild seems like it's failing for some reason, and it hasn't for a really long time. And so it's just about their story, and it sounds really interesting. Peter Newman is not a fantasy author that I hear a lot of people talk about, but I think his books sound really interesting, and I'm excited to give this trilogy a try, and I'll let you know what I think and see if I recommend it. But it sounds really good, and I love these covers. Next, I found a book while shopping at Powell's that I didn't know anything about, but it seemed too good to pass up. It's called Spells at the Crossroads. It's 2 books by Barbara Ashford, Spellcast and Spellcrossed. And this is an urban fantasy about a woman, Maggie Graham, who goes to Vermont, but she steps inside the Crossroads Theater, which is just like a little playhouse, and she accepts a job there. And there's some sort of like magic within this theater that she comes across, and I just thought that sounded really cute. It's a duology. I am always wanting to try more urban fantasy. I haven't tried like a lot, and I don't love a lot of them that focus on like the super sexualized female main characters, and I don't want like a lot of sex in my urban fantasy. So this one sounds like it might be a little different than some of those others that are really popular. Not a lot of people have read this. They were written in 2011 and 2012. This edition was done in 2014, and I don't think she ever wrote anything else. So I'm intrigued to try this one out. I think it sounds fun, different, maybe a good like summer read since it takes place in the summer. So I'm excited for this one. Another one of my goals for 2025 is reading down the series that I started before 2025, so 2024 and beyond. And one of the series I started a really long time ago but haven't yet finished is the 6-story series by Matt Wesolowski. This is the 4th book, the first book being 6 stories. This is the 4th book, and I have absolutely loved every single entry into this series. They're all written as like a podcast, so they all follow like the 6 days or 6 stories, and it's like these podcast episodes. Like there's 6 episodes about what's going to happen. I don't know exactly what this one is about, but I have loved all of the other ones so much that I'm super excited to read the 4th one. It's really hard to find these in stores. Like, stores don't have them. I have to buy these like used online. My library doesn't have these newer ones. So there are 3 more that I need to read. Beast, and then 2 other ones, which I can't remember their names. And then I think the series is done, and I just hope Wesolowski keeps writing because I absolutely love this series, and I love his writing, and I want him to write so many more things. So I'm really excited to dig into this one, maybe get the other 2, and try to finish off the series this year. Next is a book by Corey L. Lee called Weave the Lightning. This is like a Russian fantasy novel about a circus. It's like about storm magic, and people aren't supposed to have this magic. Like the secret police are like looking for people who have this and putting them under arrest. And about the boy of the general of police who has storm magic. They're allowed to use it, but he can't control it. And then I guess he comes across this girl. I'm assuming they come together to, you know, she has magic and maybe can teach him how to control it because he can't seem to. I don't know, it just sounds really interesting. I had read the blurb of the 2nd novel and was so excited about it, and I was gonna buy it, and then I realized it was the 2nd in the series, and so I bought this one, and I'm hoping I love it so that I can then find the 2nd book. I think there's maybe the 3rd one is going to be coming out at some point in the future. So I'm really excited for this. Another one I haven't heard people talk about, but it sounds really interesting. 2 more kind of chunky fantasy books. The first one is one I've been wanting for a really long time, but I never found it for sale anywhere. And that is The Ember Blade by Chris Wooding. I have heard that this is sort of a classic type fantasy, sort of like Lord of the Rings, but maybe a modern twist on it. And I've just heard really good things about this. There's only 2 novels written in this series so far, and I'm not sure how many there are going to be. But I saw this for like $10, and so I had to snag it. And I will get to it at some point, maybe closer to when the series is finished. But I've heard really good things about this one, so I'm excited to finally have it. And then this last one is a self-published novel that I hemmed and hawed about. I was like, I don't know if I want to give it a try. It was a little bit on the pricey side for something I really didn't know about. Reviews are a little mixed, but it sounds so good, the premise. I just hope it's as good as the premise sounds. This is John Auerbach's Guild of Tokens. This is about a woman who's in New York, so this is another urban fantasy, and she stumbles across this like game of quests where I think it's like online or in real life. I'm not sure if it's online or in real life, but she stumbles across this game where people are given quests to like earn tokens, and she's kind of bored, kind of lonely, and so she decides to join in on this game, and I think things turn a little bit deadly and a little bit serious in a way that she wasn't expecting. So I just think that premise sounds so good. This is another one where I don't think the series is finished. I think there's 2 books in this series, and I don't know how many there are planned to be. So I hope it actually gets finished. That's one of the reasons I wasn't sure about buying this one. But since it's self-published, those can be really hard to find, especially used. So I decided to snag this one, probably wait on it for a little bit until I see what's happening with the rest of the series, but it sounds really interesting. Okay, those are all the books that I bought. I will need to find spots for them on my shelves, and then I will need to get reading because this is quite the stack to be adding, though it will be the last that I'm adding for quite a while. Did you get any books for Christmas? What books are you excited to read in the new year? Please let me know, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.